Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Kimberly Olson, licensed clinical psychologist. I just want to take a minute to talk with you a little bit about the Fiona Harvey case. I want to give a shout out to Simply Said's page, as I've been able to hear a lot of the transcripts and the voicemails and things like that from his page. I want to share with you that when I saw Baby Reindeer, I was very moved by it, moved by the story, moved by Richard's humility in his storytelling, because it certainly wasn't a one-sided presentation. It was an incredible story and probably the majority of it true. But as we have seen, there's some things that are not true. And the reason I share this with you is because if you're like me, I feel a little bit torn. Okay. Um, After all of the things that we know that she has done, things that we've read in the emails, heard on the voicemails, confirm that he at least had her character depiction down right. The details are a little muddy, but there's a couple of things that Netflix clearly failed to do. First and foremost, it wouldn't have taken anything but a couple of strokes on the old keyboard to put based on a true story instead of this is a true story. 90% of the time when you're seeing films or an episode of television or a series that is sort of biographical in nature, it's almost always based on a true story because some of the details are withheld or maybe some things are exaggerated, whatever the case may be. But that wouldn't have taken much effort, and to be candid, I don't think it would have taken away from the story at all. Number two, there should be reasonable efforts in place to protect people's identity. And that was the obligation of Netflix. And I don't know about you guys, but all I saw was the thumbnail of the Piers Morgan show. And I didn't even have to click on it. I mean, I did, and I saw the interview, but I already knew. I already knew there was such a similarity between Fiona and the actress who played her. It's pretty remarkable. And it does not appear that even reasonable efforts were taken to protect her identity. I mean, it didn't require a hack to even go up and just look up some of the things that were said in her tweets to be able to pair those things together. So that's the legal end. Now, lots of us, myself included, have a visceral response to Fiona. She's vulgar, racist, and I'm going to be very careful about how I say this. She seems to have some personality issues and seems to succumb to certain potential thought disorders that again are very offensive and difficult for us to deal with. I'm thinking about in particular delusions of grandeur, persecutory delusions, things like that, or at least she appears to. I've certainly never met her or diagnosed her. And when you hear and see these things, especially delusions of grandeur, it has what I like to call the skin crawl effect. And of course, when you get into even more of sort of the details of the emails that she sent and the excessive amounts of personal information that she shares that nobody ever wants to hear about, again, the skin crawl effect goes up profoundly. She seems to be lacking in any kind of insight, which goes together with what could possibly be a psychiatric situation. And I think for most of us, we recognize this, that this isn't necessarily coming from a healthy place or a place of wellness. Actually, I really like how the English phrase that, much more eloquent and respectful. But we also don't want to see her rewarded for bad behavior, because we do know that a lot of what was shared, we have supporting evidence. We have supporting evidence that she stalked people. We have supporting evidence that she really has bullied a great number of people. And so when we start thinking about her going to court and getting hundreds of millions of dollars, we have a visceral response to that. We don't want somebody who has hurt other people to be rewarded for bad behavior. So this really takes us back to the cusp of this lawsuit, which is, did Netflix take reasonable efforts to protect her identity? I don't think so. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a psychologist, but even if I wasn't a psychologist, wow, the similarities are remarkable. In fact, I almost question whether or not the actress met her, because she certainly played that character to a T. And again, it would have been easy enough to say based on a true story. So it'll be interesting to hear what the courts have to say about that, and what the outcomes are. But hopefully we can look at it more from a legal standpoint and less from an emotional one. Because I'm with you. I get the visceral gut response to all of this. But nevertheless, what we're really talking about are legalities. So let me know what you think. Thanks.